It's not too planned. Okay, we are. Where I am now, better than before. Through those open doors, where I am now. Where I am now, I'm in a special place. I'll tell you all the praise. Where I am now. It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, where I am now. And if you'd like to see us live at WGPL 1350 Studio, WMPA 88.9 FM Studio, all you have to do is go to Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, and guess what? You can see us live right here in the studio. And if you want to hear us all over the globe, all you have to do is go to 1400am.com or 1350am.com. Click and listen live. And now I want to introduce to some and present to others the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, and a pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. E. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Would you, could you, will you be my neighbor?
Let's welcome our neighbors. Let's welcome WGPL 1350 AM listeners.
Peace, 95.3 FM, WPCE 1400 AM, and WMVA 88.9 FM.
Facebook Live is on and popping. Let's also welcome Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll shout you out later on in the show.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. We have 2 channels on YouTube, Crystal Records 1, CRISTO Records 1. You can also go to FYI Radio Show host Yolanda Hinton. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we promise on this wonderful fun Friday, we'll shout you out.
You promise?
Promise.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. E, it is Fun Friday.
Yes, it is Fun Friday. I thought I had a joke for you, but I still got the 1995 joke that I did one time before. Why did the chicken cross the street?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no, that was a squirrel. What did the squirrel do after he crossed the street?
Not quite sure.
He gave God the praises because he didn't get run over by a car.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for the joke, Mr. E. But guess what we have? We have the current job list.
That's right. We got a current job listing. And yes, this is February, the end of February. And yes, if you hadn't gotten a job by now, you're getting ready to go into spring. And sometimes you have those seasonal jobs. And so if you need a job, get you a pen and piece of paper and jot this information down so you can get a job.
Yes.
Don't forget that Harriet's, Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, Federal Express, United Postal Service, Amazon is doing some hiring. And not only that, the Norfolk Public School is doing some hiring on today. And HRT, Hampton Roads Transit, is having a fair today also. And all you got to do is take your little resume down there and sign up and fill out the application and go from there. Market manager at the Images Museum and Garden. Did I say that right?
At the Hermitage Museum and Gardens, they need a marketing manager.
Yeah, they need a marketing manager. And Catch the King Corporation Wetland Watch. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Wetland Watch. They need to Catch the King. They need a coordinator.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Also, Chartway Credit Union. The job is $18 to $24 an hour. They need a foundation support specialist. And the United Way of Southampton Roads. They need a major gifts officer.
That's right. That's right. Foster Care Newport News looking for a bilingual clinical for long term at the Foster Care Newport News. And they're looking for a lead clinical in Newport News and clinical for child service enrichment and the serve the city looking for a development coordinator.
Okay, we have Heritage Humane Society. They need a humane education and event coordinator. Also, they need a customer care coordinator.
Christian Broadcasting Network is looking for a remote contact center representative, full-time and part-time. They're also looking for a bilingual remote contact center representative.
Very good. Director of Development, HRCAP. They need an accountant, a senior accountant at that.
Egerton, we all know Egerton. They need a direct support professional on the health side day service starting at 1768. How they need a Howland housing for the same position. That's 17 and a house looking for the same position, direct support. One for 1765 and one at 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. at 1765. And Stanford Court is looking for a direct support professional.
All right, community employment salary, 46,000. That's good annually. They need an employment specialist. Then you have the Beacon House floater. That's $20.94 an hour. Service coordinator, $19.60 an hour.
And the early childhood assistant floater also at the Hampton Roads Community Action Program, and that's a sign-in bonus of big money. So if you're looking for a job, you got more to come.
Yes. Hope for Suffolk, $19 an hour. Farm manager.
Catholic Charity of Eastern Virginia looking for a representative pay case manager. The Children's Center is looking for a pre-K teacher, a service coordinator, a center-based coordinator, executive director connected with a wish.
All right, Hope House, part-time direct support. They need two of those actually. And the upper center, they need a major gifts manager, $60,000 a year.
That's right, good money. So if you need a job, you better jump on these. Virginia Living Museum is looking for an animal keeper, a maintenance technician, a science educator, animal programmer, grant writer, and research part-time. Virginia Fund Council.
Right, Child Development Resources, that closes today. Director of Human Resources needed. Also, you have the Development Coordinator, Chesapeake Care, Communications Marketing, that Development Coordinator needed there. Girl Scouts of Colonial Coast, summer camp positions are available.
And Beacon Street Youth and Family Services is looking for a behavior manager for health case manager. XX College Fund is looking for a development coordinator and office developer assistant.
Here we go with Norfolk Botanical Gardens. They need a facilities technician. Two of them closes 3/1. That's March the 1st. Garden guide closes 3/1. Housekeeping technician closes March the 1st as well.
And for kids, looking for a maintenance technician, a mobility mentor, housing specialist, eviction prevention specialist, a family case manager, a remote contact representative at the Christian Broadcasting Network.
Okay, Christian Broadcasting Network also need a bilingual remote contact center representative. The Planning Council, respite support specialist, also accounting specialist needed.
That's right. And Bay Aging is looking for a VDC facility, FICO assistant, customer service floater, FICO assistant at Bay Aging.
All right, 757 Collab. They need a senior program manager defense accelerator.
And that's your job for the day. And you can find them where, Miss Hinton?
You can find them on our pages, Yolanda Hinton's personal page, Edward Everett's personal page. You can go to FYI Radio Show host Yolanda Hinton, LinkedIn, they're there. Go ahead and get them, share them, and use them. These are some great jobs paying some great pay.
That's right. So if you need a job, you must say it again. If you need a job, there's great opportunity. Don't forget that Home Depot, and if you've been incarcerated and you don't think anybody gonna hire you, there are programs out there today now that you can go and find a job. But you got to be honest. I found out, Miss Hinton, there's a lot of folks that's going looking for a job and not being honest.
Well, they don't have to be honest. I tell you what, it will show up somewhere.
That's right.
I mean, honest in what way? That they
by not telling them that they've been incarcerated.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they're not telling the employees that they've been incarcerated. So now the employees has to wait until later on down the road when all the information come back and find out. Guess what? You has been incarcerated, and you didn't tell them.
Well, I tell you what, there are jobs for those that have been incarcerated. So kind of go down that road first and see, so to avoid the lies.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. E, it is the last day of Black History Month. And even though it is the last day, we will continue to celebrate us. We will continue to teach our children, and we will continue to just love on what God has done for us. We've covered inventions, inventors, history. We've covered all kind of things, all kind of people that have really made an impact on our country, on our world. And we will continue today with our Black History comedians.
That's right.
And present. This is Fun Friday, so hey, we're just going to lighten the load and make it real nice. Talking about some of the folk that have impacted us, and some of the folks in the past that our moms and them grew up with, and that's history.
That's right. History. That's right. Ms. Hinton, it's important to understand that the context of Black comedian in the early mid 20th century. Here's a look at some of the key figures and trends.
Absolutely.
The chitlin switch. Do you know anything about the chitlin switch?
The chitlin circuit. Many Black comedians honed their skills on the chitlin circuit, a network of venues that catered to Black audiences during segregation. This allowed them to develop their own styles and material. Folk like Red Fox. Y'all remember Red Fox?
Yeah.
A prominent figure. Red Fox began his stand-up career in the 1940s and continued into the 1950s. He was known for his blue humor, which was often too raunchy for mainstream white audience. His influence was huge. Oh man, the Sanford and
that's right.
A
Sanford
lot of folk made Sanford and Sons. But to tell the truth, Mr. E, he was ratchet, raunchy. His humor wasn't for everybody, but people loved him and everything. I remember I was at a convention, and a Caucasian woman came out. Well, she was in the elevator, and she was telling her friend. She said, "I just saw this show. Now this is just recent. This is when it was out, the Sanford and Son, and she could not believe the humor. And she said one thing about how he would mess with Aunt Esther.
That's right.
And she thought it was the most hilarious show that she had ever seen. So he made an impact on so many folk with his stand up and with just his humor in general. He was tough.
That's right. He was tough.
He was rough.
And he was a junkyard man.
He was not just on the show. His humor was rough and tough, and like they said, a little bit on the ratchet
on
side.
the ratchet side. But that was
Yes.
what they needed. That was how they called entertainment back in the day of old. You know,
Yes.
like such like Willie's Best. You know, another figure that they had out there while he was working is now viewed with a critical eye due to the stereotype roles he played. Willie Best was one of the earliest well-known black film comedians. It's important to acknowledge his presence while also understanding the limitations placed on black performers at that time.
Absolutely. Changing the landscape, the late 1950s saw the rise of comedians like Dick
Dick
Gregory, who
Gregory.
began to address social and political issues, particularly racism, in their acts. This marked a shift in the landscape of American comedy. Some of the key points to remember: racial segregation heavily influenced the careers of Black comedians. Many performers worked within the Chitlin circuit to build their audiences. The 1950s saw the beginning of a shift toward more social conscious comedy. And that's the thing, when it comes to Dick Gregory, I don't know him really as a comedian. I only know him as an advocate,
That's right.
as
That's
a
right.
somebody that was really driving, civil rights and things like that. But that's how he started. That's what he was. He was a comedian.
You know, Miss Hinton, in a lot of words, in a lot of ways that these comedians was getting information out towards the community to let folks know what was going on, what was popping, and they did it in humor. You know,
Yeah.
everybody got a different way of sounding the alarm. And some of the comedians sound the alarm to bring awareness to people in laughter. You know, so
Yes.
to let folks know it ain't all that bad. Look at today's society, how folks like Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle is, talking about the
Yes.
new president of the United States.
Oh
They
wow.
saying it in laughter. They saying it, but they got a message behind their madness.
Absolutely. It said the period in the 1950s to the 70s was transformative time for Black comedians in America as they began to break down barriers and challenge social norms through their humor, just like you said. We talked about Red Fox
Hmm.
in that Chitlin circuit and Dick Gregory. Also, Godfrey Cambridge. I don't know if
Hmm.
many people, our children may not remember him. I remember him a little bit, but he was also he tackled racial themes in his comedy, and he had a more lightened approach. Also, Richard Pryor,
That's right.
he peaked in the
Miss
70s.
Rudolph.
Pryor began his career in 1960s. He revolutionized stand-up comedy with his raw, honest, and often autobiographically cool style. Now, let's talk about Richard Pryor because Richard Pryor was just
A mess. He was
he
Richard Pryor.
was just outspoken and would say what he wanted to
That's right.
say.
Miss Rudolph, and he had some of the craziest slang that when he talked about what's going on, and he always had a raw mouth. I mean, he can cuss like a sailor.
People really embrace those styles. I remember coming up to this, our generation, and some of the guys that are out now. Uh, they have that same ratchetness, outspoken, but there were a few, just like Sinbad, who wanted to keep it clean.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wanted to his humor. He didn't want to use all of it, and it worked for him. So back then, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it worked for them to be that way, but they took it to a place where, it was received. And then after a while, they could go mainstream. When they began to break the barriers and things like that and pull those walls down, they began to go higher and higher and higher.
And Richard Pryor also was stuff like Goonie Goo Goo, talking about somebody's family went over to his house, and he said, "Good Lord, is that a Goonie Goo Goo?" Because they had more hair on the face. The son had hair, the daughter had hair. They was covered with hair. He called them Goonie Goo Goo. And everybody see folks on the street, they say Goonie Goo Goo. And it became a hit in the community, a hit around town. And a lot of folks was really taking it to be a thing of letting everybody know, a signal that's Goonie Goo Goo over there. Like somebody might say a BMW. You know, if you ever hear somebody say BMW, it only saying that's a body made wrong. So you know, when you look at that, somebody said that's a BMW. Well, who driving that BMW? You know, so hey, that's a body made wrong.
But you know, they had to lighten the load during the time of segregation and integration and civil rights. They really had to bring to our community, you know, the humor to make us laugh sometimes about it because it was so dark. You know, racism is so dark, but they saw ways of showing us, look, this is what it is in this way, you know, in a funny way. You know, in the meantime, breaking down barriers.
That's
and in
right.
the meantime,
That's right.
Advocating and talking about civil rights. Even now, though, you just mentioned Mr. E. A lot of the comedians now they put that in their shows. They still, you know, talk about, you know, the injustices and the fact that people need to, you know, really, really get together, you know, for a better country, a better world.
Yeah.
And I love that about them. You know, some people don't want them to be political, though.
That's right. Don't want you to be. They don't want them to be political, but you know, the word is out. If you got a message, and you know they trying to get this message, and they doing it by humor, sense of humor, to let you know what's going on in the world today. Folks that we have had known in the comedy zone, Miss Hinton, such as Stephen Fletcher and Mom Mabel and Godfrey Campbell and Amos and Andy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are just to say a few, you know, to name a few. Red Fox. Bill Cosby was a comedian. Eddie Murphy also. And then you had folks like Flip Wilson, J.J. Walker, Pig Meat Markham, Shine, you're doing fine. That's what some of the things that they used to say back there in the day. And it was strictly, I mean, just hilarious and just funny. It kept you on your toes.
You had Amos and Andy's show back in the day with Sapphire. You know, these people, and Kingfish.
Yeah, Kingfish.
You know, these folk were, you know, they were the trailblazers, even before some of the ones that we mentioned earlier. You know, they were on television back then in the 40s and 50s. And they had shows. That's
right.
The thing.
That's
it wasn't
right.
that they would like on the switch, just, you know, going from city to city. They had shows on television.
That's right. Look at Sherman, what they call the Jefferson.
Yes.
He was a comedian also.
Absolutely.
They put him in the comedian realm, but he moved up from the east side. You know, went from the from the west side to the deluxe apartment in the sky.
That was a wonderful message to us, though.
But it was black and white too.
It was black and white, but I'm saying it was a great message because it showed his journey.
Yeah,
it showed him coming from the bottom to the top.
That's
you
right.
know, success through hard work.
That's right.
That was a great message for the African American community.
That's right. And Aunt Esther, she played a big important role right there on Fred Stanford. Aunt Esther, I mean, what is Stanford?
Oh,
Stanford, yes, of Stanford and Son. Aunt Esther and Lawanda. Aunt, I wonder what her first name was.
Who was it? Aunt Esther?
Yeah.
Oh, you can look her up. She is definitely, you know, she's actually on social media talking about her time there. She said that she would come in and Fred Sanford would just, you know, he would wait till he would see her to start sandblasting her and stuff like that. But she said he was such a nice man and a gentleman, and she just learned a whole lot from him. She said it was some great times for her during that time in her life.
You would never know, for one, Miss Hinton, that Dick Gregory, who was a political man, I mean, he stood out knowing political. Now he decided, but they put him in the boat as a comedian. and which he was really
Yes.
letting folks know what's going on and how they can get there and what's happening around the town. And but you would have never thought that he was a comedian in the comedian realm.
I remember when he did a fast. They talked about him fasting for the cause. He was a comedian, but he turned, like I said, we said, turned to being an advocate and a civil rights worker in the movement, and he would fast for days and days. Then he
Yeah.
talked about being healthy and juicing and
Yeah,
not
he
eating
had some
certain
juice.
things.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of things to contribute to the Black community, and his name is really big when it comes to advocacy and civil rights.
Mom maybe was with no teeth in her head,
Mhm.
a great committee with her own that house coat that she wore. See, I remember the house coat because my grandma had a house coat similar to that. Mom and had them deep pockets, and when you went back in the day, grandma had everything in them deep pockets, from a button to a pin, from a pin to needle and thread, you name it, money tied up in the napkin and in a handkerchief and everything you need. The same old gown that Mom Mabel wore. Some of our grandparents had that same
Uh-huh.
old jacket on.
Oh wow! So they went from the switch to TV.
Yeah,
Mabley on television, and some of the other that was absolutely awesome, paving the way for others. I remember Flip Wilson. Flip Wilson was on TV with his own comedy show, and these
here
folks
comes the judge.
were
Yeah,
definitely successful.
that's right.
Paul Mooney, paved the way for folk like him. There's a whole bunch of people that we can talk about, in the past, but look at the ones that they paved the way for. Like we have Martin Lawrence.
That's right.
He had his own show. We have Eddie Murphy stand up comedy. We didn't even mention Bill Cosby, but even though he got himself in some hot
Still
water,
Bill. Still Bill.
Bill back then also, was a comedian who made an impact. He went from that to TV. He became rich, very rich, off of his talents and things like that. But like I said, they were paving the way for all kind of comedians in the future here, Mr. E. And we're having a great time. You talk about Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle, some of the biggest ones in
That's right. Monique.
this ring. Monique,
Monique
she's
out there. Steve Harvey.
Steve
These
Harvey,
now comedians. Steve Harvey,
Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac. To be going. That's Bernie Mac. He had them big old bubble eyes, and but they did wonderful jobs. I was thinking about back in the days of old, and that looked like, from what I was learning, that Wesley Snipes tried his hands in being a comedian.
I think now more than ever, because when he was released from the Pokey, he came out with a sense of humor. Before, he was doing a whole lot of mystery and other kind of movies, but he came out, and I've seen quite a couple of them. I'll put it like that. Movies that he was really funny in, and so maybe being a comedian was his roots. But it was so many that paved the way for these young people. Now, listen to this. These folk, I can imagine the Chitlin Switch. They didn't get that money until they began to get bigger. But these guys and girls in this day and time are making millions and millions and millions of dollars.
That's right.
As comedians in this day and time.
You don't believe it? Ask Kevin Hart.
Woo-hoo,
Kevin Hart is making that money. Jamie Foxx, Cat Williams, Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Whoopi
Goldberg.
That's right. She's making it. And them Wayman brothers and D.L. Hughley, they was what you call making that money also.
Wanda Sykes.
That's right.
We have Rock. What's his name? Not Kid Rock. What is his name? He got slapped by
You talking about Chris Rock?
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock got slapped.
Rock.
by
Chris
Will.
Rock there, talk about a joke. But I tell you what, these guys, and some of these folk have come out of Saturday Night Live.
That's
You
right.
know, like Eddie Murphy and others have come out there, and they have really, really made it big. Now, Cat Williams is getting ready to do something like Tyler Perry. He's got a base that he bought, and he's getting ready to do it big. I didn't think the time would go by so fast, but our time is gone, y'all. Look, we're going to talk to you all later. We got some great upcoming shows, but we want you to enjoy your weekend and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 on WPCE 1400, on WGPL, on all your social media platforms. Don't forget to join us Monday afternoon at 6 o'clock p.m. for FYI After Dark. Don't forget, for more information, give us a call at 757-714-7861. That's 757-714-7861. Or you can email us at FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com. Or you can go into our Facebook page and DM us at Edward Everett Facebook page, Miss Yolanda the Lady Hinton Facebook page, or FYI Facebook page. Don't forget to have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend and enjoy this weather.
Oh yes, enjoy the weather. I tell you what, it's going to be nice today, but tomorrow it's going to be in the 70s. You all just prepare yourself for what we call the springtime.
Springtime. You know, Miss Hinton, I was listening to some of the people around the city today, and there was a lot of chatter talking about springtime, king time, and the weather.
Yes, God is faithful. You know, we see the seasons come and we see them go, and this is God's doing.
That's right.
It's not our doing, and we sit back and we wait for it. In the meantime, we are so blessed by having this month, February, Black History Month. We hope you all have enjoyed our segments. We talked about a lot of things, the beginning of our history in this country.
Yeah.
You know, don't get it twisted. Black people have been on the earth ever since the beginning of time.
That's right.
But because of our situation and what happened to us as Black people, we have a different type of spin on what has happened in our world, in our country. And so we're here, you know, we didn't ask to come. You all brought us over here in chains, and we're here and we're flourishing and we're successful and we are overcomers because this is God's doing. He's put all this in us. He's made us strong so we can continue to thrive. You brought us over here because we're strong.
That's right.
We will continue to be strong. And we just thank God for this month and the fact that it is a time for teaching. It's time to, you know, get children to learn more about their history. I know my grandson had an assignment to talk about one of our heroes. I believe it was Harriet Tubman. And so the schools are still teaching, but we have a responsibility in our homes and in our community and in our schools to continue to push forward with our history.
And don't be ashamed. One of the things that we got to understand about African American history, not to never be ashamed of where you come from. You know, the thing about it is, we was talking the other day, Miss Hinton and I was talking the other day, and everything we needed back in the days of old, God gave us wisdom and gave us the skills to provide to make our workload a lot easier. Absolutely. You know, when we look around and see that the wash machine, we was using a brick in the pond. You know, you was taking a brick, beating up the clothes on the side of a rock in the pond. Now God gave us wisdom to build a washing machine. Amen. And all you got to do is drop the washing powder in the washing machine and wash your clothes. Well, if you needed somewhere to sit, you had an opportunity to learn how to build a lawn chair. A can opener made it easy instead of using your teeth, breaking your teeth off, trying to open up bottle,
Yes.
and not only that, to drive your car, to put it from drive to neutral and park. That was a black man who did all of that. And when you go to the health reason, the first one to do a blood transfusion was
Mhm.
an African American woman who did that. And not only that, that
Yes.
pacemaker to keep your rhythm in your heart, a black man made that so that he knew that we worked real hard back there in that field. He
Mhm.
knew that we worked sun up, sundown, and we was overworked. And master put so much of a pressure on us, and that our heart was working overtime, and that it lost its rhythm. So yeah, we have a man by the first name Otis who was there to help us to keep our rhythm in our heart working. So everything that we needed in this African, we
Yes.
are powerful. We are great. We are the best thing that ever happened to the world. They need us and they are benefiting from all that we have done. So
Mhm.
I take my hats off to you, African American, black folk, my brothers, my sisters. I take my hats off. Keep on doing what you're doing because the best is yet to come.
Absolutely. We have many successful Black Americans who are now multimillionaires, billionaires, developing and building corporations and standing out in every area of life and bringing us, all of us to where we can get success. There's so much information and knowledge where we can acquire so we can be that.
That's right.
I'm just really proud and pleased, not only because we are successful, I'm pleased because God has given us this success. God has put this in us.
That's right.
We had the ability to see God in light, and that's where our survival came. Our survival came too by family, uniting with one another, with community. And so that's one thing we've got to work on still till this day, family and community, so we can, be better. But that is what we survived off of: God and community, and coming together to share, our talents and things like that. So you all don't lose that.
That's
Continue
right.
to learn, continue to push forward, be successful, and strengthen your brother. When you have been converted, strengthen your brother. When
That's
you're
right.
successful, reach out to someone, give back, and let's make this a great place for all of us to
And then
live.
one of the greatest things, Vincent, before we get out of here, love each other, love on each other, help one another as we travel along the way. And then we know that our living is not in vain. Be your brother's keeper, be your brother's strong supporter, and because we yet we'll rise and we'll rising daily. You never seen so many African Americans being commentators on TV shows. When we look at the sports arena now in the sports world, you see more African Americans being commentators. One time, the news reporters, there was all Caucasian. You see more African Americans now telling the news and going out there on the road and letting you know the conditions of the road. We see so many folks now being leaders on paving the roads and being leaders of building homes, being bankers, and and we're out there doing what God has given us to do, and we're using the craft that He has given unto us.
We are definitely we're owners now and we are quarterbacks. We are just everything,
And
I
we're
tell
making
you.
that moolah.
And we are rich. And God has done this for us. So listen, we have some great upcoming shows. We're going to be talking about immigration. We're going to talk about trafficking. Of course, we'll have our sports talk. We're doing the NBA. MEAC is coming.
That's right.
Mr.
MEAC is
E.
coming around here real soon. And not only that, I just noticed, because I'm not a basketball
Mhm.
fanatic, that college is now in tournaments. I saw the Big
Yes.
East last night with the ladies, and then if the ladies are doing it, now the men are doing it, and champions are all over the world. So hey, get ready for more sports talk, basketball on Sports Talk.
Absolutely.
And you last time we talked about sports, Miss Hinton, we found out that Butler went to the Golden State Warriors.
Absolutely.
We also found that Lubavitch went to LA. We found out that AD went to the Mavericks. AD is doing what he do best. He's off on the side of the road. He's still sitting there nursing like he did in LA.
Well, Butler did good.
Butler did wonderful.
I enjoyed the show. I mean, the basketball game last week. And we encourage you all to look at it because we're going to be coming Monday talking about the NBA.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so look, we're going to continue with our FYI After Dark. Make sure you follow us on social media. And don't forget to visit our sponsors, Bulvic, BULVIC, Academy.com, and BeardGods, BeardGods.com. You can also be a special guest, intern, or sponsor with FYI Radio Show.
And if you'd like to be a special guest sponsor of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, all you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861. That's 757-714-7861. Or you can email us at FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com.
God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your support. We're going to see you on Monday. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend.
2 up, 2 down.